congratulate the Republic of Slovenia on the success you have achieved as President of the Council during the month of December. We thank the Presidency for swiftly responding to the request of convening this important meeting, request made by the A3+1 and supported by China, Pakistan and the Russian Federation. We also thank Mr. Khaled Khiyari, ASG, for his informative briefing. We fully agree with the joint statement by the A3+ delivered by Ambassador Osman, the permanent representative of the Federal Republic of Somalia. Mr. President, the African Union expresses grave concern over the latest developments in Somaliland. In this context, the African Union unequivocally underscores its firm position that is based on the principles of the AU enshrined in Article 4 of its Charter. This article stresses very clearly the importance of respecting the inviolability of borders after independence. The AU categorically rejects any initiative, any measure that aims to recognize Somaliland as an independent entity. Somaliland remains an integral part of the Federal Republic of Somalia. Any attempt to undermine the unity of Somalia, to undermine the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Somalia is inconsistent with the main principles of the African Union. Such acts threaten to set a precedent with grave repercussions on peace and stability in Africa. The African Union expresses its grave concern over measures that are inconsistent with international unanimity, that are inconsistent with the principles of international law. Full respect of the United Nations Charter requires the full recognition of the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people to establish their independent state. That is recognized by the vast majority of United Nations member states. Rather than taking unprecedented provocative steps towards a region in the African continent. Once again, we reiterate the historical commitment by Africa to the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, including the right to self-determination, the right to establish its independent state with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. Mr. President, we reiterate the commitment of the African Union to the unity, sovereignty and territorial integrity of Somalia. And we reiterate our full support to the efforts by Somali authorities to consolidate peace, to strengthen state institutions. The African Union will continue to stand with determination alongside Somalia in its efforts to consolidate sovereignty, peace, and sustainable development. I thank you for your attention.
Mr. President, thank you for convening this meeting at a time when the principles of international order are once again openly challenged. We also thank ASG Khiyari for his briefing. Following up on the joint statement issued on 26 December by the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of a broad group of countries, including Turkey, as well as the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, I will make 3 points today. First, Turkey firmly rejects Israel's announcement, which constitutes a clear and serious violation of international law and the Charter of the UN. Unilateral recognition of a region that is a part of a sovereign UN member state directly undermines principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and non-interference. This announcement constitutes another example of the Netanyahu government's unlawful actions aimed at creating instability at both regional and global level. Such conduct cannot be normalized, ignored, or can be excused. Secondly, this announcement sets a dangerous precedent with far-reaching consequences. Undermining sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity of the Federal Republic of Somalia, a UN member state, is a blatant threat to international peace and security and risks encouraging fragmentation and instability, particularly in the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea. Moreover, this step by Israel, who persists its expansionist policies and which spares no effort to prevent recognition of the state of Palestine, amounts to an explicit intervention in Somalia's internal affairs. Decisions regarding the future of the Federal Republic of Somalia and the Somaliland region should and will be taken by the Somalis alone. Thirdly, Turkey reiterates its full and unwavering support for the sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity of the Federal Republic of Somalia over its entire territory. We reject any measures aimed at undermining Somalia's unity or weakening its internationally recognized borders, as well as its focus and efforts to combat Al-Shabaab terrorism, which we support. We also reject any attempts to link this step to broader agendas that violate international law, including efforts aimed at the forcible displacement of the Palestinian people from their land, which are unacceptable in principle and must be rejected in all its forms. Mr. President, Turkey remains firmly committed to peace and stability in the Horn of Africa. We will continue to stand by the federal government and the people of Somalia and work relentlessly with regional and international partners towards this end. In this context, we expect the Security Council to uphold its responsibilities under the UN Charter and to respond clearly to actions that threaten the sovereignty of a UN member state, as well as international peace and security. We also call on all UN member states to explicitly reject Israel's announcement recognizing the independence of the Somaliland region of the Federal Republic of Somalia. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Turkey.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me again the floor. Before proceeding further, I want to make additional remarks in my capacity as a Somali representative of Somalia to directly address the claims made by the representative of Israel who spoke before. I will make 3 points. First, actions of occupying power in Palestine and indeed in the broader region are well documented. These actions constitute clear violations of international law. What we see today and time again are acts to terrorize civilian populations and crimes against humanity and forced displacement of a whole community, starvation of innocent people, and killing and maiming hundreds of thousands. And someone doing all these things are lecturing us today what they call genocide and things like that. I'm shocked to listen to the outrageous comments from the Israeli representative. If we want to talk about genocide, it's Israel that's committing on our own eyes every day. He represents a government that killed more than 70,000 people, civilians, including children, women, elderly, doctors, and other health workers, and patients in hospitals, destroying infrastructures, deliberately starving people of Gaza. To come before us, esteemed council, and accuse Somalia of committing genocide is just ridiculous and it's unbelievable. The other thing that I want to add is he has no idea what Somalia is and where Somalis are and what Somalia stands for. I think the history is a selective history that he has just generated on his own mind. Let me give you some lessons on this. there is a systematic, is a trouble in Somalia is one country, one people, one religion that fought together for independence from the colonial. And Somalia is again one that's fighting terrorist organizations in the Horn of Africa as a one group, one religion, one ethnic group. And then when you say the Somaliland, that was a British Somaliland, it was two regions, the Northeast region and Northwest region. And now Northeast region is part of, which is 45% of the land and the population are part of the federal government of Somalia. What we're talking about is Northwest, which is also having a problem. Half of Northwest is now older region, which is close to the Djibouti border. And they are totally against what the Isaq people that you say, Isaq genocide. And there was no such genocide in Somalia that took place. Somalia had a civil war, and the civil war has its own effects. And we believe the civil war was also financed from outside. So to come to this place and lecture us humanity and genocide and human rights and independence and democracy, and we know what you're doing on a daily basis, is just an insult. And I cannot take it without responding to this. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank
The United Kingdom reaffirms its support for the sovereignty, territorial integrity, political independence and unity of Somalia. The UK does not recognise Somaliland's independence. We maintain that any change to Somaliland's status depends on mutual agreement between Mogadishu and Hargeisa.